All right, amateur scouts here. I'm going to talk about the 2011 NBA draft, review of some of the more interesting picks and players of that draft. Right off the top, Kyrie Irving. I won't talk too much about him, but I think he was the right pick for Cleveland. It was a logical choice. He seemed to be the guy that everyone's talking about. I think he has the mental capacity to handle being a number one overall pick. I don't think you're going to be worrying about him too much. So, it makes sense for Cleveland. They need a point guard, so forth. Derek Williams, I think at two. At number two was when the draft kind of really got interesting because Derek Williams was obviously the best player available for Minnesota, but he doesn't fit in at all in Minnesota. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with all these assets that Khan has acquired. I think they'd be wise to continue building around Rubio and Derek Williams, and maybe move some of their other guys around. Obviously, Kevin Love has become the face of the franchise, so it might be tough to move him. But at some point, you got to have guys that can defend and do the other things besides, score and rebound. Uh, but yeah, it'll be interesting. I think David Kahn will ultimately be judged by how he manages these assets and what he's able to turn them into. And if he's able to move them, for complementary type pieces that can do the other things, I think there's potential for this Minnesota team to ultimately be a pretty good young squad in the NBA. Enes Kanter at three might have been a bit of surprise to some. I think it was the right pick for Utah. I think he can take a little bit of time to develop. They got Al Jefferson there. I think ultimately Kanter and Derek Favors fit beside each other perfectly. Kanter, high post kind of scorer. He can rebound. I think he has that 20 and 10 potential. He'll put in the effort defensively. We'll see what happens, but I thought that was the right pick for Utah. I liked Alec Burks at 12 for them as well. I think he's a nice fit beside Gordon Hayward. So ultimately, Utah added two players that appear to be in that sort of best player available type, but also great fits and to complement the pieces they already had. And looking forward, I think they're moving pretty quickly in their rebuild, and you got to like how things are looking for them compared to New Jersey, who have yet to lock up Darren Williams. So we'll see, because that trade could end up being a huge steal for Utah and a huge killer for the Nets. At number four, congrats to Tristan Thompson, highest Canadian ever drafted. I'm not 100% sold that he was the right pick for Cleveland there. He was definitely a top 10 pick in this draft. I really love his motor. I love his length. I love his athleticism. I think he's got a lot to offer. He's young. He's raw. There's upside. I think he's going to work for it. But at number four, I don't know if he presents the type of value and fit that you're looking for there, because I don't see how he fits beside Hickson and Varejao, who are the two front court pieces they already had. I think they were convinced that Kanter was going to be there, but they end up with Tristan Thompson. We'll see what happens, but I think ultimately it was a mistake passing on Jonas Valanciunas, who went number 5 to the Toronto Raptors. I think Cleveland was scared off by the fact that they're the whole buyout thing with Jonas. But the Raptors, within days, were able to work out an agreement with his team in Lithuania. He's going to miss a year, probably a lockout shortened year if there's a year at all. And he'll be back next year. And Toronto will likely have a good pick again next year. And I just think this was a really savvy pick by Colangelo, and a really ballsy pick, too, because a lot of fans and media jumped down his throat for selecting another 7-foot European player. But you look at the skill set. This guy he's a different breed than Bargnani. He's a fantastic rebounder. He's got a lot of tools defensively, and he's learning how to use them. I watched the game just yesterday where he played the U.S. under-19 team, I think it was, and a potential future lottery pick in big man Patrick Young out of Florida. And Jonas dominated. I mean, he's got great length. He moves well. He's got high basketball IQ. He's got some skills in the low post. He even hit a jump shot. He hits his free throws. I mean, he's going to get fouled. I think he's got that potential to be like maybe a 17 and 12. That's the ceiling. Maybe a 15 and 10 with good defense type of center in the NBA. And in this draft at number 5, you got to say that's a fantastic pick. Jan Vesely, okay, at number 6. I mean, I don't really know much about Jan Vesely. I love the kiss with his girlfriend when he was selected. I think, I know he's an athlete. I think he'll fit in great beside John Wall in terms of John Wall being able to just run the floor with them and throw him alley-oops and so forth. It'll be interesting to see what comes of him. I really like Chris Singleton for them later on in the first round. I think Chris Singleton is also another fantastic athlete, but he's shown that he can shoot the three some. Singleton, Vesely, and Javale are going to make a very athletic front court for Washington going forward. And then you throw in the fact that they have one of the better young three-point shooters in the NBA, and Nick Young at the 2 if they keep him around. And that's a down-the-road starting 5 that I think Washington fans can get a little excited about. We'll see. I don't know if there is that cerebral leader amongst that group. But, there's definitely a lot of talent there, and I think they're going in the right direction. Charlotte then took 2 guys in Bismack Biyombo and Kemba Walker. I felt these were 2 great picks for Charlotte. They got guys right around where they were supposed to go, guys that I think have clear roles in the NBA. I know that might be debatable, but I really think Biyombo can be a defensive big in the NBA, whether he starts or comes off the bench. I mean, at worst, I think he's a Joel Anthony with better rebounding and maybe a bit more upside on offense. And Kemba Walker is just a leader, cerebral type. I refer to him as Luke Skywalker. Kemba Walker. He's a Jedi master. He's just in control and has mastered his skills. And I think he has what it takes to be a great complementary starter on a championship caliber team. I think if Charlotte's wise, they might continue this rebuild. But Bismack and Kemba definitely give them a couple of real solid building blocks. Maybe they lack the star power, but 2 real nice building blocks for them going forward. Brandon Knight slipped to Detroit at 8. Best player available there for them. Not sure how he really fits in. We'll see what they do, but he's a talent. Monroe's a talent. I think Detroit's a little in flux, but we'll see what they do. San Antonio Spurs, the last team I'm going to talk about. I really like their draft. I like what they did. I think they sold high on Hill, and they were able to flip Hill for Kawhi Leonard, who I really like as a wing defender and rebounder and someone with some offensive upside. Obviously not going to be a black hole on offense or anything like that. And they replaced Hill with Corey Joseph in the late first. A lot of people thought Joseph might not even get drafted, but I really like Joseph as an NBA prospect. Maybe it wasn't the best decision for him to come out, but at the end of the day, this is a guard with decent size at 6'3", who can shoot the 3. He can defend, and he can run the offense. So I don't see why he isn't a legit, late first-round pick. And I think he's going to turn out to be a bit of a steal and make the people in San Antonio look really smart once again, as he can do some of the things that Hill was doing, replace him, and then now they got Kawhi. So they got a couple nice young pieces. Anyways, that's the review. Leave a comment, rate it, whatever. Hope you enjoyed.